Hello everyone, and welcome to the Tulum Real Estate Guide, where we dive into the very exciting and vibrant world of property investment in this beautiful paradise of Tulum, Mexico. I am your guide, Tony Martinez, and today we're going to explore Tulum's true development potential. A question I often get is, how much can Tulum actually grow? So to help me better explain the answer to this question, we first need to understand what is the development potential of Tulum given its natural restrictions and density restrictions as well. I find that there's a lot of misinformation out there and a lot of misconceptions of Tulum and the growth. A lot of people think that it's going to become the next Miami or the next Cancun, and they're afraid of this place becoming over-densified. I totally understand. So in this video, I'm going to answer all of those questions, so stick around. All right, guys, so let's check out this map. This is actually a map that we did while doing a market study a few years back, and this is going to better help us understand Tulum. So first of all, how big is Tulum, right? Tulum is approximately 2,000 square kilometers, all right? In other words, 770 square miles, which as you can see is not that big at all. Now, how big or how large is this stretch of beachfront property, coastal beach line in Tulum? It's only 10 kilometers, guys. That's about 6.2 miles, right? So very, very small, not a massive piece of beachfront property. And all this is good, guys, and I'll share with you guys why that is good shortly. Now, from the highway, which is this part right here, okay, down to the beach, right, this is only 3 kilometers, guys, about 1.8 miles. So it's going to take you about 10 minutes, straight shot from this point down to the beach. All right, guys, let's look at this map. This map, as a matter of fact, was a map that we did back when we were doing a market study. I was working with the largest developer in the entire peninsula of Yucatan. So this has a lot of time and effort behind it. So let me go ahead and start explaining how big is Tulum first and foremost, right? So basically this that you're looking at is 2,000 square kilometers. In other words, 770 square miles. So as you can see, is not that big. Now let's talk about the coastal beach line of Tulum. Okay, it's only 10 kilometers, guys. That's it. We're talking 6.2 miles. Now, how far are you from downtown Tulum, which would be this area here, or the highway, because this is Highway 307, okay, that's what it's called. So from this highway down to the beach, you're only 3 kilometers, right? That's about 1.8 miles. So you're not far at all. That's about a 10-minute drive to the beach. This street that you see here, this is the very first street that opened many years ago, and it was the only street that would allow you and take you to the beach. So it's called Coba, and then a few years back, actually less than 2 years ago, this one opened up and it's called Kukulkan. So Kukulkan is the second street that today takes you all the way to the beach, and it only opened 2 years ago. So interesting stuff. Now, another thing I wanted to pay your attention to is this part over here on the left. This here is called Sian Ka'an, all right? It is a natural reserve. It's a biosphere. It's owned by the federal government, so you cannot do anything here. As a matter of fact, even if you wanted to, because this is swamp-like, all right? So there's no development. You don't have the right soil, and this is one of the biggest natural limitations that Tulum has when it comes to its growth, right? Now, let me take your attention down here to this middle part of the map. And this here that looks like electricity, these are subterranean rivers, guys. And there's over 7,000 of these. They're called cenotes here in Mexico. And these underground water rivers, guys, they cut a lot of this area of Tulum. So for example, this square that I'm signaling, right, you can see a big concentration of underground water rivers. So can you build in that area? Well, you're not supposed to do anything that is too heavy. So it cannot be, a big residential development. It's probably not going to be a big house larger than maybe 2 stories, because there are restrictions on this land. So can you buy property there? Can you develop something? Yes, but it's probably not going to be this large residential development or even a mid-sized development. It's got to be something small. It's got to be something sustainable, because at the end of the day, you do have water underneath you. So you want to be careful with this. Now, let me take your attention over here to the right side where it says Área Protegida, aka protected area. And this is very interesting, guys, because this is brand new. So just about a year ago, the president announced that they were going to be doing something called the Jaguar Park. And the Jaguar Park It's an extension of over 2,300 hectares, okay? 2,300 hectares, guys. That's 6.7 times the size of New York Central Park, all right? So we're talking a huge plot of land that will be protected. It'll be used as a natural park to preserve fauna, and also they're gonna do a museum. They're doing oh, by the way, here, right next to this, you see the archaeological sites. So this is where you have the famous Tulum ruins. And of course, you can't build anything there because that's also owned by the federal. This is, by the way, you might have heard of UNESCO, right? UNESCO World Heritage. So those are the ones that take care of these areas like Sian Ka'an. And I'm not sure if this will be given to them just yet. We don't know that data, but it possibly can. And so imagine, guys, if we cannot build here, right? You can only build very little here, and you can't build anything here for that matter, right? Then how much can Tulum really grow? And that's the million-dollar question. And I think we've so far answered this because Tulum has a lot of natural limitations that a lot of people don't know, right? If this was, say, Cancun or say Playa del Carmen or any other city for that matter, you would see the urban footprint, which is this that you see here, the urban footprint, right, all throughout the map, right? It would be super densified. And that's myself why I love Tulum. This is why I invested in Tulum along with my partners from New York and along with many clients of ours. Why? Because Tulum, literally, guys, it's like gold, right? There's only so much of it. And the timing of Tulum couldn't be better because it's just starting off. But if you don't know this, if you don't see this map, you're thinking that Tulum is going to become the next Miami, right? It's going to be over-densified. Another thing I want to point out, guys, is you're not allowed to build higher than 4 plus a rooftop, meaning 5 stories in total in Tulum. That is the maximum given density to the plots of land. And so this is not like Cancun, where you can build higher than 10 stories, right? Or Miami, where you can build, 50 stories. So you're not going to see an over-densified city. And I think that's the most important thing to understand about Tulum, is that given the natural restrictions that it has, along with the density restrictions of the plots of land, you are not allowed to build more than what the natural resources of Tulum has given us. Now, can you build over here on this side of the of Tulum? Absolutely, you can. You can. Now, there is a lot of water over here as well. You can see these huge, large cenotes, and you still have to respect the same density that I was just mentioning, right? And so, guys, and for those of you guys who maybe have not been to Tulum and you don't know where Tulum started, right here, right where you see the square, this is downtown Tulum, otherwise known as El Centro. And this is where the first footprint of Tulum began, and then it started to stretch out to Veleta. Then eventually Aldea Zama came about, which is this colored design that you see here. And in my next video, I'm actually going to talk about the different areas of Tulum. So I'll talk about Veleta, I'll talk about Aldea Zama, I'll talk about Region 11, Region 15, Region 8, okay? And other surrounding areas that I find are coming up. You're going to definitely want to know about that, because we're going to discuss where the next streets will be paved, for example, right? Everybody wants to know how Tulum's infrastructure is being done, and there's a lot of misconceptions as well. So I'm gonna go ahead and answer that on our next video. So as you guys can see, Tulum's natural limitations and density restrictions make it a very unique and interesting place to invest, because it just cannot be over-densified. And that's what I feel that makes this place worth gold. Guys, this is part 1 of part 2. I'm gonna release another video in where I'm actually gonna discuss the actual different markets and regions of Tulum, how they are developing, what are you allowed to do there, and what you might want to know if you yourself are considering investing. And if you are, and you want me to be your guide throughout the process, make sure you send me a DM. If you guys want to know more, you want to ask me questions and have videos done specifically to answer them, feel free to ask me as many questions as possible. I'm going to do an entire video series where I get to answer all these questions. And if you yourself haven't subscribed yet, make sure you hit the subscribe button, hit the notification so that you're alerted the very next time we release our next video. Guys, this is Tony Martinez, and this is the Tulum Real Estate Guide. God bless and much success.